They say if you count the stairs at Iqbal Public after sundown, you'll always get 13, no matter which staircase you take. Daylight makes 12. Night adds 1 for itself. I thought it was just a senior year rumor, the kind you pass down because it tastes good. I was only in the auditorium booth to finish syncing tomorrow's assembly slides. One more export, one more checklist. Then the generator hiccuped, the stage lights fluttered, and every digital clock on campus blinked to the same wrong time, 7:13. The building settled, a long inhale through air vents. Outside the booth window, the hall stretched narrower than it should, the exit sign's arrow bent inward like a crooked finger. I packed my laptop, pushed the door. It resisted as if a palm pressed back from the other side, then opened with a moist pop. In the wing corridor, a red chalk line I had never seen before ran along the baseboards, turning corners, slipping under locked doors, reappearing like a vein. At the corner, a laminated sheet hung on a nail, custodian's night notes. Do not step on the 13th step. Do not answer after the second ring. Do not look into the trophy case glass if your name is called. A phone rang somewhere deep, the sound thick, old, not our modern plastic trill but a bell made of porcelain. One ring. It echoed under my ribs. I tried the side exit near the music room. The crash bar moved, the door did not. The red line lay there like a boundary. Inside of it, the tiles looked freshly waxed. Outside, scuffed and gray. I towed the line. The air felt colder on the wax side, as if the school were 2 degrees nearer to space. The nearest staircase was the one by the art wing, the one with the mural of bluebirds and hands. In daylight, it has 12 steps to the landing, 12 more to the second floor. I put my hand on the rail and counted aloud because silence had teeth. 1, 2, 3. At 12, I was already on the landing. And then there was another. A shallow riser with a strip of red chalk dust across its lip, like a mouth that had bitten a line. My sneaker hovered. The phone rang again, farther away, second bell. The custodian's note whispered in my head, do not answer after the second ring. I didn't step on the extra tread. I lifted and took a long, silly dancer's stride over it. The moment I did, the stairwell exhaled damp breath that smelled like old books and wet plaster. A light above me flickered, and in that strobe I saw faint shoe prints on the 13th step, all toes pointing down, as if everyone else had gone the other way. When the light steadied, the prints were gone. The red line continued up the wall, past the landing, toward the administrative offices we weren't supposed to enter alone. I followed it because our school is a maze, and mazes punish you for pretending you know better. Room numbers were wrong. 209 came after 314. A classroom I'd never noticed before had a cracked window painted over from inside. On the door, records and letters that used to be gold. I tried the knob. It turned the way a sleeping person stirs, reluctant, resentful, then surrendered. The records room was narrow and deep, caged shelves on both sides, a library of paper. Yearbooks, ledger boxes, an old stamp set with interchangeable dates. Scrawled on the nearest shelf in pencil, 0 period, head count. A thin draft went past me toward the back, where the red line terminated at a door with a small wired glass pane. A placard, newer than the rest, gleamed, Room 0. Behind the wired glass, a desk faced the door. On it sat a ledger as thick as my forearm and a cracked rotary telephone the color of tea. The phone's line vanished into the wall where paint blistered. The handset lifted by itself and dropped with a polite click, as if someone had picked it up, considered speaking, and changed their mind. My name, Zara Khalid, was written on a sticky note, stuck to the ledger's cover in our secretary's tidy hand, as if I had an appointment I'd forgotten. When I opened the ledger, the pages smelled like rain and chalk dust. Columns, name/year/status. Most entries were normal, present, absent, transferred. A few had a stamp I'd never seen, corrected. A shape moved in the glass. Not a face, an absence shaped like a person, heat shimmer without heat. When it stood, the papers fluttered. Its voice was the hush of a library closing. Head count. I'm leaving, I said, which is a child's answer. You are late, it said, not unkindly. 0 period admits all who step between the lines. There are 30 chairs in this school that must be sat. We have 29. The phone clicked once as if nodding. I'm not your extra chair, I whispered. It is arithmetic, the hush said. Names to seats. Seats to names. We do not choose. We balance. I flipped the ledger until I reached my year. Year 13. Someone had labeled the senior class like that as a joke. Here it was not a joke. I found Hassan Malik, my lab partner, the only person who could laugh me out from under a bad grade. Status: absent had been overwritten in faint red, corrected. I remembered the day he stopped coming, the explanation that he'd transferred to another city. Except he hadn't posted from anywhere else. His handle went still. Under my name, a blank. No status, just a thin line like a closed mouth. The phone purred once. The air grew fatal with waiting. I turned the ledger's pages with 2 hands. They felt heavier, as if wet. Entries that had once read corrected shifted to present or transferred. Hassan's line shook, thin red letters drying to ordinary black. Present. The red chalk line at the baseboards lifted like mist and drew itself back into the mortar, leaving only dust. In the wired glass, the absence person folded in on itself and became a ripple of air that sank into the desk like heat into wood. You cannot keep that balance, it said, but very small now. The building cannot be both counter and counted. It can, tonight, I said, because sometimes the math teacher lets you use the answer sheet if you show all your work. I closed the ledger. It thudded, final. The hallway outside had become the hallway I knew. Tack boards with curling club flyers, lockers tattooed by key scratches, the good kind of dust. The clocks unblinked, their wrong 7:13 rolling forward to the right wrong. 5:51 a.m. That told the truth about how long the night had been. I ran down the art wing stairs without counting, and when I got curious and counted backwards, there were 12, tidy as a dozen eggs. On the first floor, the office phone in the secretary's nook sat where it always sat, plastic and clean. I could have sworn it smelled like tea. I found Hassan in the courtyard, sitting on the low brick wall, rubbing at a chalk smear on his palm, as if he'd been writing long equations on a blackboard in a dream. He looked up, startled first, then relieved in a wave that knocked the sarcasm right off his face. "You missed a wild lab," he said, and then frowned like he'd forgotten the joke. "Where was I?" "0 period," I said. "Absent." Then present. He nodded as if I'd said library. "I hate mornings," he muttered. "I'll walk you to class." Homeroom bells began their simple math, short, long, mouths of metal saying wake up in a language every student recognizes. The secretary handed me a late slip without looking, then did a double take at the attendance sheet. "Huh, computer says you're withdrawn, 0 period," she said, pen raised. "And also present." "System sneezed," I said. She laughed and stapled the slip anyway. When I walked past the trophy case, I didn't look into the glass. You could have paid me every scholarship in the world, and I would not have looked into that glass. In chemistry, Bunsen burners slept in their blue caps, and the whiteboard still carried yesterday's ghost equations. I sat. My chair felt new to me, the way a bed feels when you've been out of your house too long and return to find your own sheets smell like home. At 7:30, the PA clicked and our principal's voice said her usual thank you. Announcements, attendance now. The word attendance landed in my bones like a feather that used to be an arrow. I didn't tell anyone about room 0. People like to be haunted by things they can name. A girl in the bathroom mirror, a janitor with keys that rattle themselves. Headcount is harder to say out loud. It's a hush that thinks in totals. But I kept one souvenir, a rub of red dust on the sole of my sneaker that would not wash off and, when tapped with a fingernail, tasted faintly of iron and chalk like blood that never bled. Some nights, when I'm the last to leave rehearsal, I take the stairs 2 at a time and hold my breath between 12 and the landing just in case. I hang back from the second ring if a phone starts, even if it's mine. And twice. Only twice, which is enough. When the hallway was too empty and the air too clean, I felt the building counting me. Not measuring, counting. I touched the wall and said, "Present for both of us." The cinder block under my palm went a little warm. If you want a rule, here is one. Do not give the building your name if you can give it its own. When someone takes attendance and the word doesn't fit in your mouth, say the school's name instead. Let the bricks wait the roll call. Let the windows and doors and pipes answer, present, because they are. They outlast us. They should answer sometimes. The rumor about the 13th step will keep moving down to freshmen with brand new shoes and untied laces. They'll laugh, and they'll count, and in daylight they'll be right. 12. But if they ever get locked in late and the exit signs point inward, if the red line appears at their ankles like a cut around the building's foot, they'll remember the way stories change flavor after dark. This isn't a warning so much as instructions written on a laminated card that someone nailed crooked to a hallway. I imagine the custodian who wrote them had neat block letters and a tired back and hated how the night made the stairs breathe. 3 rules. Don't step on the 13th tread. Don't answer after the second ring. Don't look into the trophy case glass if your name is called. I add a 4th and marker when no one's watching. If they ask for a name, lend the school its own. Morning comes rude and bright, making everything ordinary on purpose. The janitors prop doors, the gardeners hose the courtyard dust, and the clocks pretend they never knew 7:13. But the math of the place remembers. So do I. If you hear the soft porcelain bell twice and your palms itch with chalk, stand in the threshold and breathe like you belong to the bricks as much as they belong to you. When the hush that keeps the totals straight asks who is here, say it with me, steady as a pledge. Iqbal Public School is present. Then walk to class before the building thinks too hard about the difference between us.